Serial 24. Why did Christ say one of the signs of his true church is they shall take up serpents? In Serial 23, we previously discussed Mark chapter 16, verses 15 through 20, where Jesus Christ gave us the signs that would identify his true church in the latter days. Mark chapter 16, verse 18 says, "They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover." Why would the Church of Christ need to take up serpents? Because when the restored Church of Jesus Christ was driven out of the United States and moved to the middle of the Rocky Mountains, this area was already occupied by hundreds of thousands of poisonous rattlesnakes. The history of the Latter-day Saint pioneers has recorded that dangerous rattlesnakes in the area had to be taken up by the thousands. Of the hundreds of incidents, I will share two examples. The president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Brigham Young, wrote, "When we left the Missouri River, we followed the Platte, and we killed rattlesnakes by the cord in some places." A cord of rattlesnakes would fill a box 4 feet wide by 4 feet high by 8 feet long with snakes. When the pioneers arrived in a remote valley that would later become the city of Manti, Utah, they built dugouts into the side of a hill to protect themselves from the deep snows of a freezing winter. In the spring of the year, when the sun got warmer, a weird hissing and rattling was heard coming from all directions. Then the dugouts were invaded by a horde of spotted-backed rattlesnakes. They were found everywhere, in the beds with the babies, in the cupboards, everywhere that snakes could get. The men and women, even the children who were old enough, armed themselves with anything that was available. Pine torches were their best weapons. They worked all night, I'm sure, listening and driving. They estimated that 500 rattlesnakes were killed in one night, which is more than just a few. But the most amazing thing of all was that they continued to kill rattlesnakes for the next few days without a single person being bitten. The incident reminds me of the story of Daniel in the lion's den, when the lions' mouths were sealed and they were unable to do the harm they would normally do. These Latter-day Saint pioneers expelled the rattlesnakes and built the Manti Temple on the same hill where those pioneer dugouts had been. The next two signs in verse 18 state, "If they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover." Latter-day Saints are familiar with the attempt to poison the prophet Joseph Smith, his recovery, and thousands of other cases where the sick have been miraculously healed through the laying on of hands of the priesthood. These healings are well known throughout the church and still continue to this day. In Mark chapter 16, verses 19 through 20, it's pointed out that after the Savior ascended into heaven, his church went forth and preached the gospel to all the world, and the above-mentioned signs were proof that they were his true disciples. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has the largest missionary force preaching the gospel throughout the world, and the members of our church are true Christian disciples of Jesus Christ who display all the signs of his true church. Jesus Christ prophesied what the people would do to the prophets that he would send in the future. "Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them ye shall scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city." Where are the prophets Jesus Christ promised to send us in the future? Did anyone in the Catholic Church or any of these Protestant reformers claim to be prophets of God? No, none of these men claim to be prophets sent by God, or to have seen God, or to have been told by God to set up a new church. The prophet Joseph Smith and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints were persecuted and driven from city to city, until Joseph Smith and his brother Hyrum were shot to death by the Protestant-led mob at Carthage jail. And the succeeding Prophet Brigham Young led the Latter-day Saints to a deserted territory in the far western United States that would later become the state of Utah. Serial 24 Summary. 1. Jesus Christ prophesied that a sign of his true church was that his disciples would have to take up serpents. 2. When the Latter-day Saint pioneers arrived in Utah, they had to remove rattlesnakes by the thousands. 3. Pioneers removed hundreds of rattlesnakes from a large hill and built the Manti Temple on top of it. 4. Latter-day Saints are familiar with thousands of cases where the dying and sick have been miraculously healed through the laying on of the hands of the Holy Priesthood. 5. Healings through the power of the Holy Priesthood still continues throughout the church today. 6. Jesus Christ prophesied the people would persecute and kill his prophets and church from city to city. 7. Joseph Smith and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints were persecuted and driven from city to city. 8. Joseph Smith and his brother Hyrum died as martyrs, along with hundreds of other Latter-day Saints. 9. The Prophet Brigham Young had to lead the church out of the United States to avoid persecution. To continue, see Serial 25. What are the fruits of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?